It's always important for us to discuss the important legal work happening at the ACLJ. We always give you the top line news, what's going on. You're going to hear about that. You're going to hear our commentary. But we are in court, and we're always in court for you. And right now we are joined in studio by Staci Heil, senior attorney, as well as senior managing counsel Christy Compagnone, who is in Texas, live, just leaving court. Christy, we'll get to you in a second. Staci, why don't you set up what's going on with the ACLJ, and then we'll kick it to Christy in Texas.
Sure. This case involves our client, a teacher in Texas, who was praying at See You at the Pole with other teachers well before any students were there. And she was approached by the principal and literally told that the school policy is that teachers are barred from any kind of religious activity in the presence of students, which is completely unconstitutional policy. And so the ACLJ was contacted, and we got involved, and we are able to, allege with this case that students and teachers don't shed their constitutional rights when they simply walk through a schoolhouse door. And so that's what this case involves. We had a preliminary injunction that's going to enjoin the school from actually enforcing that unconstitutional policy, and that's where Christy was today in court in Texas.
All right, Christy, give us an update. Tell us how things went. You just came out. Again, a lot of our Texas viewers and a lot of our Texas listeners are chiming into the comments, shocked that this is happening in their home state, because you would think, we report this, you'll hear, but the most recent ones now, we've had, Arkansas, Nebraska, we've had Georgia,
yeah,
and now in Texas. So I guess you're coming out of the court, which again just ended within the last hour or so. Give us an update.
Yeah, so we had a 45-minute battle in there with opposing counsel. So we were asking the court to enjoin the school from enforcing this policy against our client. And the school came out of the bat swinging, saying that our client was trying to pray in the student group session with the students, which is just not the facts at all here. She was praying before the students even arrived at the flagpole, when the principal pulled her in to his office and chided her and the other teachers because he said there were students outside the front door who were waiting to come into the rooms. So it had nothing to do with students being at the flagpole. So we went to the judge and said, look, it's unconstitutional to say that she can't, in her private capacity before school starts, be praying with the other teachers at this pole. She also has asked specifically to have Bible studies in her classroom, and the current policy meant that if a student walked into her classroom while she was praying with the other teachers, she would immediately be in violation of the school policy and could be fired. So we've asked the judge to enter an order protecting her right, her constitutional right, and I think he took it into consideration. The other side mischaracterized our client a little bit, but we argued back and stated the record clear. She's not trying to pray with the student groups. She's just trying to have personal prayer at the flagpole.
Staci, maybe you can break this down too. Yeah. And then what's the next steps? What does this look like? We're in court today. Mm-hmm. This process could get strung along. It could wrap up quickly. But you had also recordings.
Yes. That's interesting.
And that's a very interesting, maybe difference in this is that she was actively recording.
Right.
So now they're caught.
Right. So on your timeline, because this is a preliminary injunction and it's basically an emergency motion, we're hopeful that the judge will rule very quickly. And that will mean that while this case goes forward, our client's constitutional rights will not be infringed. She'll be allowed to pray. But what is interesting is once we did have to file the case, which is disheartening, like you said, in Texas. Yeah. After we did file the case, of course, the principal kind of changes his tune of, oh, no, that's not what I said. I didn't say they can't pray in front of students. I just said, that flagpole was already reserved for students. But guess what? Our teacher, our client, recorded him. Right. And so we literally have him saying, you can't pray in front of students. That's part of our board policy.
And not even in front of students, but where there's a potential for students. I believe there's a part of that recording, I was reading up on that last night, where it says something about, what about my car? And they're like, well, if the car is parked out front, you never know. A student could walk by. Sometimes these become power-hungry faculty.
Right.
And you have to stand up to them. And I'll pitch back to Christy. Christy, because the ACLJ is actively involved in these situations, it's easy to hear when we tell you one of these stories and we're like, well, we sent a letter and they back down because they're scared of us. But there are sometimes, more often than not, especially in these situations, where it gets to this level and could go even further.
Exactly. I mean, we tried to work through this with the school. We sent email after email saying, is there a way that we can come to some kind of resolution? And they started ignoring us. And so that was the time to pull the trigger and say, okay, we're filing. You've just ignored us for a month. And we have our clients' rights are being violated every single day that she can't be praying now. So
there we go. Look, support the work of the ACLJ. If you're in the comments right now on YouTube, if you're on Rumble, I'm going to ask you to pray for them, pray for our team who is out there right now. Throw into the comments, pray for Texas, pray for the ACLJ. I see a lot of our Texas. Texas responds big. Texas is one of our biggest states of support. And oddly enough, you know what second number 2 is typically? California. California and Texas speak out for the ACLJ because in Texas, one, these are just big states, a lot of people. But also, California feels underrepresented, and Texas is always strong. But there are moments like this. There are times like this where it is, and I'm seeing the flood in comments. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Because look, as much as your support, becoming an ACLJ champion, all of that matters. When we have our team, and some of them are the brightest, they're young lawyers, they are out there fighting. They need your support. They need your prayers. Christy, I'll let you get back to what you're doing. I know you're having, you're out there doing the good work and doing the hard work, and we appreciate it. So I'll let Christy go so she can get back to her day, because this is what especially our young legal team. I want to say that too. A lot of these people have been, they've been lawyers for years now. I want to say young, and I feel like that's giving a pejorative, but they're out there, they're hungry, and they're fighting. Yeah,
they're fighting on the front lines, and that's great. And I would say, if you have a situation like this, and this is what's great, is I'm so thankful that that teacher called us, because you don't, like I said, the Supreme Court has been very clear. When you walk through the schoolhouse door, whether you're a teacher or student, you don't shed your constitutional rights. So if you've had a constitutional right you think that has been violated, you need to reach out to us at aclj.org/help, and we will get one of our attorneys right on it.
Yeah, we want you to do that. I want to encourage you. Don't feel like your case is too small here. This is a single teacher in Texas who just wanted to pray, was told she couldn't, didn't know what to do, contacted the ACLJ. We took on the case at no cost. We can't do it at no cost without your support. And that's why today I'm asking you to become an ACLJ champion. I mean, we're in court today. You've heard that. The teacher was banned from praying anywhere a student may possibly see her. So the fact that we have a great team of young lawyers in Texas right now fighting for a teacher whose rights were violated, who feels like she could not express her faith. And again, express her faith. If you start really narrowing it down, that means religious garb. And by the way, not just Christians. I'm talking about if you're wearing a cross. I'm talking about if you're wearing a cross, a hijab, a yarmulke. You want your schools to be able to tell your students and your faculty what they can and can't wear like that because it may signal their beliefs? Of course not. And that's why we're here at the ACLJ. I'm going to ask you to support us because we have been successful in defending them over and over and over again, and we couldn't do it without the brightest and the best. So right now, go to aclj.org/champion. If you scan the QR code right now on your screen, also it'll take you straight there. We're just asking you to give monthly at whatever level you can. So whether that's $5, whether it's $500, do that right now. Become a new champion today.